Hello, guys. I wanted to talk with you today about the Daily Beast and the White House the White House briefing room or communications team have required. They've been scrutinized a little bit about their decision to, or their requests for the Daily Beast to submit their questions in writing, to submit their questions prior to press, the press briefings. So now I heard about this from Tucker Carlson on his show, and he presented it. He presented it pretty negatively. Objectively negatively. He made it sound like the Daily Beast was being targeted in this way. I don't know exactly what question prompted this request from the press, or from the White House press team, but yeah, Tucker Carlson made it seem like it was a negative, that they were targeting the Daily Beast, and he also kind of failed to mention that the Daily Beast is sort of a liberal. They're on the liberal side of the spectrum, at least according to Advance Media, their project of their diagram of the interactive media bias chart. That that chart places the Daily Beast clearly left. And I know that there are flaws with the Daily Beast, and I wish I was familiar with more of the Daily Beast's journalism and their general reputation. But I was under the impression going into this that the Daily Beast was on the right side of the political spectrum. So I was a little surprised when I dug into this story a little bit more, and I figured I'd start by trying to hear it from the horse's mouth and hear what the Daily Beast has to say about it. So I looked into that, and they presented it much more neutrally. Perhaps if the Daily Beast was a conservative outlet, they wouldn't have handled it so well. The Daily Beast seems to make points on both sides that they're not sure if it's. They wouldn't, like the way they phrased it. They made it sound like it wasn't necessarily. It wasn't that like they like when Tucker talked about this, he made it sound like this was an unprecedented thing, and apparently it's been done in previous administrations. It's a fairly standard practice. Not to say that all standards are good. Not to say that everything that's normal is good. But for the Daily Beast says that this kind of thing used to be more common before the Trump era, and Trump's relationship with the press was obviously disastrous, which is not a surprise to anyone, of course. I mean, he went into it saying how much he hates the media and seems to welcome their hate. So the idea. So I guess the question is this a why the Daily Beast specifically? They didn't really get into what prompted them to target the Daily Beast, and maybe it is targeting. I mean, because they are kind of singling out the Daily Beast in this instance, and of course the Biden administration is only 2 weeks old, so this kind of we'll see if this kind of thing continues. If they grow that list, they might want to because the way that Biden's team and the Daily Beast phrase it is that it's really just about building back a relationship between the media and the presidency. And that's where it gets kind of creepy here, because it's like, how good of a relationship is the White House supposed to have with the press? You can have too good of a relationship with the president as a journalist, as a media outlet at all. If you succumb to that mindset of, well, if I give a little to them, they'll give a little back. If I'm nice and polite and I formalize my relationship with the briefing room and the press secretary, and I submit my questions ahead of time. I help them help me, so to speak. Then it's good for both of us. But when you get embedded in that, you can lose sight of your objectivity and your ability to you're going to be hesitant to ask those tough questions. And of course, when it's issued, and it's a lot easier to just throw a tough question out there and watch the press secretary kind of scramble. But that also it also makes it difficult to run an efficient press conference. So when you have if you want a polished, smooth press briefing, because there's going to be a lot of them, a lot more than there has been recently with the Trump presidency. And that's a good thing. Hopefully there will be more. Hopefully there will be more press briefings, considerably more, because towards the end of the Trump presidency, there really weren't many press briefings. It became more rare. He might have outright stopped it entirely, from what I remember hearing. So, is it dangerous for? Is it worth sacrificing those tough questions and is this about it? Like is it a good thing that the press wants to have a good relationship? Because with the president, because with the White House, because in this instant, with the Daily Beast specifically, it sounds like they want to have a good relationship with the Biden administration, and because they presented it very neutrally, which I was surprised by, again, because I didn't even realize where they stood on the political spectrum. I thought that they were more right wing, and Tucker didn't divulge into that. He didn't explain what side of the spectrum the Daily Beast is on, or whether or not what the Daily Beast has had to say about it so far. So I've said good things about Tucker. I've said bad things about him. I see good and bad things within a single episode. He's obviously flawed, like anybody else in media, at least with mainstream media. I mean, we're all flawed, but obviously mainstream media is particularly bad, or else people wouldn't be getting their news from YouTube so much these days. So we'll see how the Biden press team develops over time, and I'm continuing to dig my toes into what the communications team in the White House is going to be up to, and how it's going to shift from the previous administration. All right, thank you guys.